Dr. Sarah Chen yawned as she stared at the computer screen. It was 3 a.m., and she was alone in the control room of the Global Radio Astronomy Network, GRAN. The huge radio telescope array spread across 5 continents was scanning the stars, as it did every night. Sarah was about to get some coffee when a loud beep made her jump. "What the?" she muttered, her eyes widening as she looked at the screen. The signal was unlike anything she had ever seen before. It was strong, regular, and definitely not natural. Sarah's heart raced as she realized what this could mean. She quickly called her boss, Dr. James Wilson. "James, you need to see this now," she said excitedly into the phone. Within an hour, the control room was buzzing with activity. Scientists from around the world joined via video call, all watching in awe as the signal continued to come in. "It's artificial," Dr. Wilson announced, his voice trembling slightly. "We're not alone." As the team worked to decode the signal, news of the discovery leaked to the press. By morning, the whole world knew. People everywhere were glued to their screens, waiting for updates. It took 3 days of non-stop work, but finally, the message was decoded. The room fell silent as Dr. Chen read it aloud. "To the inhabitants of the third planet, your world has been chosen. Prepare for our arrival. Resistance is futile." The silence that followed was deafening. Then, chaos erupted. Phones started ringing off the hook as government officials demanded answers. In Washington, D.C., President Emily Rodriguez called an emergency meeting. Leaders from every country joined via secure video link. The mood was tense as they discussed the threat. "We need to prepare for war," the Russian president said grimly. "But how can we fight an enemy we know nothing about?" asked the Indian Prime Minister. As the debate raged on, a young scientist named Dr. Alex Petal spoke up. "We might not know much about them, but we know one thing: they underestimate us. They think resistance is futile. Let's prove them wrong." His words sparked a fire in the room. Slowly, a plan began to form. Meanwhile, in cities across the globe, people reacted to the news in different ways. Some panicked, rushing to stores to stock up on supplies. Others gathered in churches, mosques, and temples to pray. But many stood tall, their faces set with determination. In New York, a group of students hung a banner from a skyscraper. It read, "Dear aliens, bring it on." In a small village in Kenya, an old woman told her grandchildren, "We have faced many challenges before. We will face this one too." As night fell, millions looked up at the stars, wondering what was coming. But they were not just afraid. They were ready. Back at GRAN, Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly to learn more about the alien signal. They discovered that the alien fleet was still far away, giving Earth some time to prepare. "How long do we have?" President Rodriguez asked during a briefing. "Based on our calculations, about 18 months. Dr. Chen replied. The president nodded, her face set with resolve. "Then we have work to do." As the news spread, something amazing happened. Old conflicts were forgotten as humanity united against a common threat. Countries that were once enemies now worked together, sharing resources and technology. In labs around the world, scientists raced to develop new weapons and defenses. Factories switched to war production. Military leaders from different nations met to form a global defense strategy. But it wasn't just governments and militaries that prepared. Ordinary people found ways to help too. Farmers grew extra food. Teachers included space defense lessons in their classes. Everyone did what they could. As weeks passed, Earth transformed. It was no longer just a planet of separate nations. It was becoming a fortress, a united world preparing to fight for its survival. The aliens thought Earth would be an easy target. They were wrong. Humanity was ready, and they were waiting. The world had changed overnight. The once busy streets of New York were now filled with soldiers and scientists rushing to and fro. In the heart of the city, the United Nations building had become the headquarters for Earth's defense. Inside, General Maria Gonzalez stood before a map of the world. Red dots covered the surface, each representing a new defense project. She turned to the group of leaders gathered around her. "We have 18 months," she said, her voice firm. "Every second counts." Across the globe, humanity was gearing up for the fight of its life. In a secret lab beneath the Sahara Desert, Dr. Yuki Tanaka worked tirelessly on Project Sunburst. The goal, to create a weapon that could pierce even the toughest alien armor. "Pass me the fusion core," she called to her assistant. As she installed the glowing blue orb into the prototype, she whispered, "This has to work. It has to." Meanwhile, in orbit, astronaut John Chen floated inside the International Space Station. But it wasn't so international anymore. Now, it was humanity's first line of defense. John watched as robotic arms attached new weapon systems to the station's exterior. "Home base, this is ISS," he radioed. "The new pulse cannons are online. We're ready up here." Back on Earth, it wasn't just the military preparing. In a small town in Brazil, Maria, a young computer whiz, hunched over her laptop. She was part of a global network of hackers, all working to create the ultimate cybersecurity system. "Let's see those aliens try to hack this," she muttered, her fingers flying over the keyboard. In the Australian outback, farmers had turned their vast lands into training grounds. Men and women of all ages learned combat skills, preparing to defend their homes if the aliens made it past Earth's defenses. Jake, a former sheep farmer, wiped sweat from his brow as he finished his rifle training. "Never thought I'd trade my shears for a gun," he said to his instructor. "But I'll be damned if I let some space invaders take our planet without a fight." Underwater, in the depths of the Pacific, engineers worked on massive submarines designed to hide entire cities if needed. The project, codenamed Atlantis, was humanity's last resort survival plan. Chief Engineer Lisa Patel surfaced in the test chamber, grinning. "The air recycling system is working perfectly," she reported. "We can keep 1 million people alive down here for years if we have to." In laboratories around the world, scientists made breakthrough after breakthrough. New materials, stronger than anything on Earth, were developed for armor. Faster-than-light communication systems were tested, allowing instant coordination across vast distances. But perhaps the most important development came from an unexpected source. In a small garage in Kenya, 16-year-old Amani Okello tinkered with an old radio. She had been listening to the alien signals, noticing patterns no one else had. "Dad," she shouted excitedly, "I think I found a way to understand their language." Her discovery led to the creation of a universal translator, a tool that would prove invaluable in the coming conflict. As the months passed, Earth transformed. Cities built massive shield generators. Mountains were hollowed out to create hidden bases. The moon was turned into a fortress, bristling with weapons pointed at deep space. But it wasn't all about war. In schools, children learned about alien cultures and galactic diplomacy alongside math and science. "We must be prepared for peace as well as war," President Rodriguez had said. In orbit, a new ship took shape. The HSS Hope, humanity's first faster-than-light vessel, was nearly complete. It wasn't a warship, but a ship of exploration and diplomacy. Captain Zora Khan floated beside it, her heart swelling with pride. "If we survive this," she thought, "this ship will take us to the stars." 18 months after the first alien message, Earth was ready. The once divided planet was now united, its people prepared and determined. In every city, town, and village, humans looked to the stars with a mix of fear and determination. In the UN headquarters, General Gonzalez stood before the world's leaders. "The alien fleet will reach our solar system in 24 hours, she announced. "It's time to show them what humanity is made of." As one, the leaders nodded. The message was clear. Earth was no longer just a pale blue dot in space. It was a fortress, a united world of 7 billion souls, each ready to fight for their home. The aliens thought they were coming to conquer an easy target. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Humanity was ready. and they were waiting. The tension in the United Nations Assembly Hall was thick enough to cut with a knife. Leaders from every nation on Earth sat in hushed silence, their eyes fixed on the podium. President Emily Rodriguez stepped up, her face set with determination. "The time has come," she began, her voice echoing through the hall. "We must send our message to the stars." For weeks, the best minds on Earth had been working on this message. It needed to be perfect, a delicate balance of strength and diplomacy. The fate of humanity might depend on these words. In a small room adjacent to the main hall, Dr. Amani Okello, now 18 and recognized as Earth's foremost expert on alien linguistics, made final adjustments to the translation matrix. Her invention would ensure the aliens understood every nuance of the message. "It's ready," she said, giving a thumbs up to the technicians. Back in the main hall, President Rodriguez continued. "This message will be broadcast across the cosmos. It will reach the alien fleet long before they reach us, and it will make them think twice about their invasion plans." She nodded to a man sitting in the front row. Tom Chen, once a humble radio astronomer, now stood as the head of Earth's interstellar communication department. He pressed a button on his tablet, and screens around the hall lit up with the message. President Rodriguez began to read. "To the approaching fleet. We, the united people of Earth, have received your message. We understand your intentions, and we have a message of our own. We are ready. You may have traveled across the stars, thinking to find an easy conquest. You are mistaken. In the time since your message arrived, we have prepared. Our world stands united as never before. Our weapons are primed. Our defenses are strong. But more than that, our resolve is unshakable. We will not submit. We will not surrender. Every man, woman, and child on this planet is prepared to fight for our home. But it doesn't have to be this way. We extend an offer of peace. Turn back now, and we can meet as equals, as fellow travelers in this vast universe. We have much we could learn from each other. However, if you choose to continue your aggressive approach, know this: we will fight, and we will win. Earth is not your prize to be taken. It is our home, and we will defend it to the last. The choice is yours, peace or war. Either way, we are ready. We'll be waiting." As the president finished reading, a cheer erupted in the hall. It was a powerful message, one that showcased humanity's strength while still leaving the door open for peace. In orbit, aboard the International Space Station, Commander Sarah Lee watched as the message was beamed into space. The station's new quantum transmitter, capable of sending signals faster than light, lit up like a Christmas tree. "Message away," she reported back to Earth. Now we wait. The response was quicker than anyone expected. Just hours after the message was sent, the alien fleet changed course. Instead of heading straight for Earth, they were now on a trajectory that would bring them to the edge of the solar system. In the UN hall, the mood was tense as they waited for a reply. Tom Chen's tablet beeped, and he quickly translated the incoming message. "They say they're surprised by our unity and preparation," he announced. "They're requesting a face-to-face meeting at the edge of our solar system." A murmur ran through the crowd. Was this a genuine offer of diplomacy or a trap? General Maria Gonzalez stood up. "We should proceed with caution, but we can't ignore this opportunity. I suggest we send a small delegation to meet them. The HFY Hope is ready for its maiden voyage." President Rodriguez nodded. "Agreed. But we'll be ready for anything. If this is a trap, they'll find out just how prepared we really are." As the meeting adjourned, people around the world held their breath. The aliens were coming, but now there was a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this wouldn't end in war. Captain Zura Khan received the news in her quarters aboard the HFY Hope. Her heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear. She was about to become the first human to make official contact with an alien species. As she suited up for the mission, she thought about the message they had sent. It was bold, perhaps even a bit arrogant, but it was honest. Humanity was ready, for peace or for war. The HSS Hope's engines roared to life. As it lifted off from Earth, carrying humanity's representatives to their rendezvous with destiny, billions watched and waited. The next few days would determine the fate of their world. Earth had sent its message. Now, they could only hope the aliens would listen. The HSS Hope glided silently through the inky blackness of space, its sleek form a testament to human ingenuity. On the bridge, Captain Zara Khan's heart raced as she stared at the view screen. There, just ahead, loomed the massive alien mothership. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Amani Okello, her eyes wide with wonder. The alien vessel was unlike anything they had imagined, a swirling, ever-changing structure that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "And terrifying," added General Maria Gonzalez, her hand resting on her sidearm. "Remember why we're here. Stay alert." As the Hope approached, a beam of shimmering light shot out from the alien ship, enveloping their vessel. "What's happening?" Zara demanded, turning to her science officer. "It appears to be a tractor beam," he replied, his voice filled with awe. "They're pulling us in." Inside the alien mothership, the human delegation found themselves in a vast, organic-looking chamber. The walls pulsed with an eerie bioluminescent light. Suddenly, a figure materialized before them. The alien was tall and slender, with iridescent skin and multiple limbs that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Its large, multifaceted eyes regarded them with what seemed like curiosity. Dr. Okello stepped forward, activating her universal translator. "We come in peace," she began, her voice steady despite her nervousness. The alien's response came not in words, but in a series of musical tones and flashing colors. The translator hummed, interpreting. "Welcome, Earthlings. We are the Zarkoni. Your message. Entreat us." As the conversation progressed, the humans learned that the Zarkoni were not conquerors, but explorers. Their initial message had been poorly translated, leading to the misunderstanding. "We seek not to conquer, but to learn," the alien explained. "Your response showed us a species of great potential. We wish to exchange knowledge." Relief washed over the human delegation, but General Gonzalez remained cautious. "If that's true, why the show of force? Why send a fleet?" The alien's colors shifted to a deep blue. "The universe is dangerous. We came prepared for hostility, as you did. It seems we are not so different." As they talked, both sides began to relax. The Zarkoni shared glimpses of their advanced technology, faster than light travel, energy manipulation, even the ability to reshape matter at will. In return, the humans shared their own achievements, their rapid technological advancement, their diverse cultures, their art and music. The Zarkoni seemed particularly fascinated by human emotions and creativity. However, just as it seemed that peaceful relations were assured, alarms blared throughout the alien ship. The Zarkoni leader's colors flashed in panic. "Danger," it exclaimed. "Old enemy approaches. Cracks warships detected." On the view screens, a new fleet appeared, jagged, menacing ships that made the Zarkoni vessels look gentle by comparison. "The Cracks are conquerors," the Zarkoni explained hurriedly. "They follow us, destroying all in their path. We must flee." General Gonzalez stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with determination. "No," she said firmly. "We stand and fight, together." The Zarkoni leader's colors swirled in surprise. "You would risk yourselves for us. Why?" Zara spoke up, her voice filled with conviction. "Because that's what allies do, and if we're going to face the dangers of the universe, we'd rather do it with friends by our side." As if to emphasize her point, a transmission came in from Earth. Tom Kinn's face appeared on the screen. "The defense fleet is on its way," he reported. "Earth stands with our new allies." The Zarkoni leader's colors shifted to a warm golden hue. "Perhaps we underestimated you, Earthlings. Very well. We fight together." As the Cracks fleet approached, a joint force of human and Zarkoni ships formed a defensive line. The HSS Hope took its place at the center, a symbol of the newfound alliance. Captain Zora Khan looked out at the approaching enemy, then at her alien allies. She couldn't help but smile. This wasn't how she had expected first contact to go, but somehow it felt right. "All ships, this is Captain Khan," she broadcast. "Prepare for battle. Let's show these cracks what happens when they mess with Earth and its friends." As the first shots were fired, lighting up the darkness of space, one thing became clear. Humanity had not just made first contact. They had made their first interstellar alliance. And together, they were ready to face whatever the universe might throw at them. The battle for Earth, and now for their new allies, was about to begin. The vastness of space erupted into a dazzling display of light and energy as the combined Earth-Zarkoni fleet engaged the Cracks invaders. Captain Zora Khan gripped her command chair tightly, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Evasive maneuvers," she shouted as a Crack's energy beam lanced past the HSS Hope. The ship rolled gracefully, narrowly avoiding the deadly blast. On Earth, billions watched the battle unfold through real-time holographic projections. In New York's Times Square, the crowd gasped as a Crack's battlecruiser exploded in a brilliant flash. Back in space, Dr. Amani Okello worked furiously at her console, coordinating with the Zarkoni to decode Crack's communications. "Captain," she called out suddenly, "I got something. The Cracks, they're not just here for the Zarkoni. They want Earth too." General Maria Gonzalez's face hardened. "Then they'll have to go through us first," she growled, ordering another volley of Earth's newly developed quantum torpedoes. The battle raged on, spreading from the outer planets inward. Jupiter's moons became impromptu battlefields, with human and Zarkoni fighters weaving between the gas giants' swirling storms to ambush Crack ships. On Mars, the recently established colony became an unexpected line of defense. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, now stationed at the Martian research base, activated the planet's experimental shield generator. The red planet shimmered as an energy field enveloped it, deflecting Crack's bombardments. "Mars is holding." Yuki's voice crackled over the comms. "But we can't keep this up forever." The tide of battle ebbed and flowed. For every Crack ship destroyed, the Earth-Zarkoni alliance lost one of their own. The defenders were outnumbered, but not outmatched. Humanity's preparation and the Zarkoni's advanced technology proved a formidable combination. In orbit around Earth, the transformed International Space Station unleashed its hidden arsenal. Commander Sarah Lee targeted the station's pulse cannons, taking out Crack's fighters with surgical precision. "Earth's orbital defenses are at 60% and holding," she reported. "But they're starting to break through." Indeed, despite the fierce resistance, some Crack ships managed to penetrate Earth's defenses. They descended upon major cities, their intent clear: to crush humanity's will to fight. But the Cracks had severely underestimated Earth's inhabitants. In New York, Jake, the former sheep farmer, now a trained militia member, led a group of civilians in repelling Crack's ground forces. They used guerrilla tactics, striking from subway tunnels and disappearing into the urban landscape. In Rio de Janeiro, Maria, the hacker, coordinated a global network of cyber warriors, launching relentless attacks on Crack systems. Alien ships suddenly found their navigation systems scrambled, veering off course, or crashing into each other. Over the skies of Tokyo, the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, bolstered by volunteers from around the world, engaged in dogfights with Crack's fighters. The human pilots' ingenuity and daring maneuvers often trumped the aliens' superior technology. Back in space, Captain Khan noticed a pattern in the Crack's fleet movements. "They're protecting that large ship in the center," she realized. "That must be their command vessel." The Zarkoni leader, its colors pulsing with agreement, suggested a daring plan. "If we can take out their command, their fleet will be in disarray." A joint strike force was quickly assembled. Earth's most advanced ships, including the HSS Hope, joined with the most powerful Zarkoni vessels. Together, They launched a desperate assault on the Crack's command ship. The battle that followed was nothing short of epic. Human fighters darted between massive alien vessels, drawing fire away from the larger ships. Zarkoni energy weapons lit up space, carving through Crack's defenses. Captain Khan piloted the Hope straight towards the heart of the enemy fleet, dodging and weaving through a storm of enemy fire. "Now," she yelled as they came into range. Dr. Okello activated the ship's secret weapon, a device that combined human and Zarkoni technology. It fired a beam of concentrated energy that phased through the Crack's shields as if they weren't there. The Crack's command ship shuddered under the impact. For a moment, everything seemed to hang in the balance. Then, with a silent flash that lit up half the solar system, the massive vessel exploded. A cheer went up across the entire Earth Zarkoni fleet. Without central command, the Crack's ships fell into confusion. Some continued to fight, but many turned to flee. As the last Crack's ships were mopped up or driven away, an exhausted but triumphant Captain Khan looked out at the starfield. Earth had faced its first interstellar war, and won. The battle was over, but humanity's journey to the stars had just begun. As ships limped home for repairs and the cleanup began, one thing was clear: Earth was no longer alone in the universe, and it was more than ready for whatever came next. The dust of battle had barely settled when alarms blared once again across Earth's defense network. Dr. Amani Okello's eyes widened as she stared at her console aboard the HFY Hope. "Captain Khan," she called out, her voice tight with urgency. "Long-range sensors are picking up a massive energy signature. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Captain Zara Khan rushed to Amani's side, her face grim as she studied the readings. "Is it the Cracks? Are they back with reinforcements?" Before Amani could respond, a crackling transmission came through. It was Tom Chen, broadcasting from Earth's Central Command. "All ships, this is Earth Command. We're detecting a new threat. It appears to be a Crack's superweapon. Our calculations suggest it has the power to destroy entire planets." A hush fell over the bridge of the Hope. The implications were clear. Even with their recent victory, neither humanity nor the Zarkoni had the firepower to face such a threat. In the tense silence, an unexpected voice spoke up. It was Jake, the former sheep farmer turned soldier, now serving as a liaison on the Hope. "What about Project Sunburst?" he asked, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. Dr. Tanaka was working on something big, wasn't she? Captain Khan's eyes lit up with recognition. "Of course. Get me a line to Mars base. Now." Moments later, Dr. Yuki Tanaka's face appeared on the main view screen, her lab on Mars visible in the background. "Dr. Tanaka," Zura began without preamble, "Project Sunburst, is it ready?" Yuki's expression was a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Theoretically, yes, but it's never been tested at full power. The risks are greater than the destruction of Earth." General Maria Gonzalez interrupted, stepping into view. "Doctor, we're out of options. It's time to take that risk." Yuki nodded solemnly. "Understood. Initiating Project Sunburst." On Mars, deep beneath the red planet's surface, a massive device hummed to life. It was the culmination of years of research, combining cutting-edge human science with insights gleaned from Zarkoni technology. As the Crack's superweapon approached, casting an ominous shadow over the solar system, Earth made its move. A beam of pure energy, more focused and powerful than anything humanity had ever created, shot out from Mars. It streaked across space, a lance of hope against the encroaching darkness. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, as the beam struck the Crack's weapon, reality itself seemed to warp. "The energy readings are off the charts," Amani shouted, her fingers flying over her console. "It's creating some kind of quantum disruption field." The effect spread rapidly. Crack's ships caught in the field began to disintegrate, their very atoms torn apart by forces they couldn't comprehend. The superweapon, the pride of the Crack's fleet, fared no better. Cracks of blinding light appeared along its surface, growing larger by the second. "It's working," Jake exclaimed, his voice filled with awe and disbelief. But the victory was not without cost. The strain on Project Sunburst was immense. On Mars, alarms blared as the device began to overload. "We can't sustain this output." Yuki's panicked voice came through the comms. "The core is destabilizing." Captain Khan made a split-second decision. "Dr. Tanaka, set the device to overload. We'll use the explosion to amplify the effect." "But that would destroy Mars," Yuki protested. "Better Mars than Earth," Maria said grimly. "Do it, Doctor. That's an order." With tears in her eyes, Yuki initiated the overload sequence and began evacuation procedures. As Mars research team fled the planet in emergency shuttles, Project Sunburst reached critical mass. The red planet glowed brighter and brighter, until it rivaled the sun itself. Then, in a flash that momentarily outshone every star in the sky, Mars exploded. The quantum disruption field expanded exponentially, engulfing the entire Krax fleet. Ships disintegrated by the hundreds, then thousands. The superweapon, caught at the heart of the blast, simply ceased to exist. When the light faded and sensors could function again, the solar system was eerily empty. Where once there had been a terrifying alien armada, now there was nothing but drifting debris. On the bridge of the HSS Hope, and in command centers across Earth, jubilant cheers broke out. Against all odds, humanity had turned certain defeat into an incredible victory. But as the initial euphoria faded, the enormity of what had happened began to sink in. They had won, yes, but at the cost of an entire planet. Mars, humanity's first extraterrestrial colony, was gone. Captain Khan looked out at the starfield, her expression a mix of triumph and sorrow. "Send a message to Earth and our Zarkoni allies," she said quietly. Tell them the war is over. We've won." As the message was relayed, Zara couldn't help but wonder. In the face of such destructive power, what would this victory mean for humanity's future among the stars? The sun rose over a changed Earth. Streets that had once echoed with the sounds of battle were now filled with people celebrating their hard-won victory. But amidst the joy, there was a somber undercurrent. The cost of triumph had been high. In the rebuilt United Nations headquarters, now christened the Interstellar Cooperation Center, world leaders gathered to discuss humanity's future. Captain Zora Khan stood at the podium, her uniform crisp but her eyes tired. "We've won the war," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the planet via holographic broadcast. "But now we face an even greater challenge: building a lasting peace." As she spoke, screens behind her showed the ongoing cleanup efforts. In orbit, human and Zarkoni ships worked side by side, clearing debris and repairing satellites. On Earth, cities were being rebuilt, stronger and more advanced than before. But it was the image of where Mars once stood that drew every eye. A new asteroid belt now circled the sun in its place, a constant reminder of the sacrifice made to ensure Earth's survival. Dr. Amani Okello stepped up next, her young face now bearing the wisdom of one who had seen too much. "The Zarkoni have shared more of their knowledge with us," she announced. "Together, we're developing technology to detect and prevent future threats from across the galaxy." In a lab halfway across the world, Dr. Yuki Tanaka worked tirelessly. Her hands shook slightly as she manipulated holographic models of a new device. "It's a planetary shield," she explained to her team. "Based on what we learned from Project Sunburst, never again will we be caught unprepared." Back at the ICC, General Maria Gonzalez took the stage. Her uniform bore new insignia. She now led Earth's first interstellar defense force. "We're extending our reach beyond our solar system," she declared. "Peaceful exploration is our goal, but we'll be ready to defend ourselves and our allies if needed." As if on cue, a massive view screen lit up, showing the construction of a new space station at the edge of the solar system. It would serve as humanity's first line of defense and a beacon of cooperation between Earth and the Zarkoni. Jake, once a simple farmer, now stood proudly in a spacesuit, overseeing the construction. He waved at the camera, a symbol of how far humanity had come. Meanwhile, in classrooms around the world, children learned about their place in a much larger universe. Maria, the former hacker, now taught the next generation of cyber defenders, preparing them for threats that might come from across the stars. But it wasn't all about defense and technology. In a greenhouse module aboard the new space station, botanists worked to adapt Earth plants to alien environments. "We're not just surviving," one scientist explained. "We're learning to thrive out there." Tom Chen, now the head of Earth's interstellar communications, made a groundbreaking announcement. "We've detected signals from other civilizations," he said, his voice filled with excitement. "Peaceful ones, like the Zarkoni. We're no longer alone in our fight against forces like the Cracks." As the day's proceedings came to a close, President Emily Rodriguez addressed the world and their Zarkoni allies. "Today marks a new chapter in our history," she began. "We've faced our greatest challenge and emerged stronger, but let us not forget the lessons we've learned." She paused, her eyes scanning the crowd. "We must remain vigilant, yes, but we must also remain true to the best parts of ourselves, our curiosity, our compassion, our drive to explore and understand." As she spoke, the HSS Hope, newly repaired and upgraded, prepared for its next mission. Captain Khan stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars with a mix of anticipation and resolve. "We go forward not in fear, but in hope," the president continued. "We extend a hand of friendship to peaceful species across the galaxy. And to those who would threaten us or our allies, let our actions serve as a final warning. Humanity is ready. We are united, and we will prevail." The speech ended to thunderous applause. As night fell, people around the world looked up at the stars with new eyes. The universe was vast and sometimes dangerous, but humanity had proven itself equal to the challenge. In orbit, Zarkoni ships prepared to depart, but not as visitors, as allies and friends. Their leader's colors shimmered with warmth as it addressed the human crew. "Together, we will forge a brighter future among the stars." As the sun set on this new era, one thing was clear. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire. It had emerged as a force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. The road ahead would not be easy, but with their newfound strength, unity, and allies, they were ready to face whatever the universe might throw at them. The message to the stars was clear. Humanity is here. We are ready. And we are waiting to shape the future of the galaxy.